Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Love Decoded. Don't miss today's topic. It's worth watching and very sensitive. I promise it's valuable, so stay tuned to the end.
Have you ever been in a relationship where you just feel undervalued, but for some reason you can't seem to leave? You are definitely not alone. Today, we're going to break down the psychology behind why we accept less than we deserve, and more importantly, how to build up the self-worth to finally break that cycle for good. Okay, let's just dive right in with a truth that can be a little hard to swallow. We can't control how other people act, right? But we always have control over what we accept. If there's a pattern of disrespect, it's a huge signal that, on some level, we've kind of let it happen. So the real question isn't, why do they do it? It's, why do I let them? So to really understand why we stay, we have to look at the powerful mental gymnastics we do to justify a situation that deep down is making us miserable. And it all starts with this one psychological concept that affects every single one of us. And that concept is called cognitive dissonance. It's that awful, knot-in-your-stomach feeling you get when your actions don't line up with your values. It's like a tug-of-war in your head. Your brain absolutely hates that conflict, and it will do almost anything to make it stop, often in ways that really don't help you in the long run. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. Think about the massive double standard we have. If your best friend came to you with your exact story, what would you say? You'd probably tell them, "Leave, you deserve so much better." But when it comes to ourselves, we invent a completely different set of rules, a whole list of justifications to stay. So to make that uncomfortable feeling, that cognitive dissonance go away, we create these special circumstances. We tell ourselves these stories that make really unacceptable behavior seem, well, acceptable. We say things like, "I'm just a kind and understanding person," when what we're really doing is just finding another reason to stay put. And here's the absolute kicker. We teach people how to treat us. It's that simple. If we don't put a high value on ourselves and show it through our boundaries and our actions, why on earth would we expect anyone else to? Allowing this respect doesn't just keep things the same. It's practically an invitation for the behavior to continue or even get worse. But what happens when you finally hit that breaking point? You've had enough and you leave. For a lot of people, this isn't the end of the story. Nope, it's actually the beginning of a really painful cycle that can damage your self-worth even more. This downward spiral is such a common trap. So here's how it works. First, the pain gets to be too much, and you leave. But then the self-blame starts to creep in. You feel silly for staying so long, and then time passes. You start to forget the really bad stuff and only remember the good times. This makes you lower your standards, and boom, you either end up back with the same person or in a new relationship with the exact same problems. Okay, so how do we get off this merry-go-round? How do we finally break the cycle? Well, it's not about finding the perfect person out there. It's about reconnecting with a part of yourself that you've probably been ignoring for a very, very long time. The key to getting out, to breaking free, it's all in your instincts. That gut feeling. You know, that little voice in the back of your mind that's been whispering that something just isn't right. It's not about finding little flaws. It's about recognizing on a fundamental level when you're not being treated with respect. But here's a really critical point. People always say, trust your gut. But that's only half the puzzle. Having the instinct, that's just the alarm bell going off. The real power, where the actual change happens, is having the self-worth and the courage to act on that feeling. And isn't this the most vicious cycle? The longer you stay in a situation that chips away at your self-worth, the less you trust your own judgment. So the very thing you need to escape, a strong sense of self, is the exact thing the situation is destroying. It's incredibly frustrating. So what do you do if your instincts feel all foggy and your self-worth is at an all-time low? How do you get some clarity? How can you start rebuilding that trust in yourself right now? Well, there's a really simple but incredibly powerful test that you can use. I want you to ask yourself this one question. It's designed to cut right through all the noise, all the excuses. It's not about asking if the treatment is that bad. The question is, does this treatment match the standards of the best possible version of yourself, the person you are striving to be? Let's make this super practical. Just take a second and do this in your head. In the first column, I want you to get really specific. Describe how your ideal partner would make you feel valued, respected, and cared for. Then, in the second column, be brutally honest with yourself about how your current situation actually measures up. Now, look at the gap between those two columns. That space, right there, that's not a reason to feel bad. That is your roadmap. It doesn't just show you their shortcomings, it highlights your work. It shows you exactly where you need to build stronger boundaries and start investing in your own sense of value. And here's the real secret to closing that gap. Building self-worth isn't something that just happens. You don't wait around until you feel good enough. You build it by doing the scary, difficult things you know deep down are right. Every single courageous action you take is like a deposit in your self-worth bank account. So let's end with this. That quiet, nagging gut feeling isn't your enemy. It's your guide. If you want to start listening to it, try this today. Just take 5 minutes of total silence. Ask yourself, what has this feeling been trying to tell me? And then, without judging it, just write down the very first thing that pops into your head. Because the first step to acting on your instincts is to finally, truly hear them.
This is how silent sabotage quietly erodes relationships, often without us as the first step to stopping it. If this helped you, please subscribe and support me. Hope you liked the video. Thanks for watching.